Hey, good morning everybody. Dan the Healing Man here, and we're gonna do our last little segment on honesty today. And honesty is a big broad thing, and it's really subjective to the moment. Like we said, it's in context to your life. And in this set of messages, we talked about how honesty is really two things, just to simplify it down. One of them is an honest effort. It's physical action. Did I give it my best? And the other part of honesty is acts to deceive. Do I intend to deceive somebody in being dishonest, or do I not intend to deceive anybody being honest? And we went through how reliability, integrity, and ownership of your circumstances lead to a sense of honesty or a sense of trust in other people. And that sense of trust is really important. We also talked about the difference between truth and honesty. You can absolutely tell me the truth, or I can tell you the truth, and it's quite possible I got some of it wrong. But I didn't intend to deceive you in any way, and I'm making an honest effort to be factual, because none of us remember everything accurately. And we decided that we don't got to recount every single detail of every single day, of every single moment that someone asks about in order to be honest. So we've simplified it down. It's just a matter of your heart and your mind. And in the Jesus strategy, that's really what we're working on. What we call the maintenance of the soul is really a training of the mind. A training of the mind in order to make your life better, to give you back control. So as we finish up here, let's talk about honesty in the sense of relationships as a whole. When you're not honest, when you have an intent to deceive somebody, to hold yourself in a better light, to try to do something that may affect someone else negatively, or will not speak the truth to them with facts, then you create a barrier in a relationship that's sometimes very, very difficult for another person to overcome. Honesty is that critical. And the type of trust that honesty creates is that important. And sometimes we want to turn around and blame other people, sit around and shift the focus. We want to do things like just move off of us the responsibility for the injury to the relationship. But if we know we've been dishonest in your heart and in your mind, you've been dishonest, well then you are the source of the solution. It doesn't matter how the other person reacted, or how they may have come back at us with the very same thing we gave to them, or worse, they could have even done us more wrong. It's still important that we settle our side of the honesty equation. So, I can give you an example in my life where I had to get honest. And the result of that getting honest meant I had to go away for a couple of years. But there is no other way past your troubles other than to get honest about them. That starts with getting honest with yourself. Don't deceive yourself. In other words, don't sit around and think the problem sits outside of you. Know that the problem sits right inside your heart and your mind. Know that you have the solution to this problem exclusively. We look towards God, and we look towards the teachings of Jesus, and we really want to employ all the way the strategy Jesus taught to a happy life. I know I do. I know I want it. I want the benefits of it. I want all the things that it promises. I still run into hurdles that are difficult to get past, and I have some sort of desire to be dishonest, and there's no requisite to do it. In fact, the way past them is to immediately get honest. And the key to that we talk about in another series, and I would recommend it to you. If you're struggling with honesty, if you have something you just don't want to tell someone that you believe would straighten out a problem with your relationship with that person, if you have that going on in your life, if you've been living an inflated life, if you've been living a double life, telling people you're not drinking and you're drinking, telling people you're loyal to your wife and you're not loyal to your wife, telling people you're getting stuff done or have a certain amount of money or live in a certain place, and none of that's true, then here's the way out. The key is willingness. And we do a whole thing, like I said, I would recommend you watching our willingness messages, because willingness is a spiritual law. A spiritual law. It's a reap what you sow law. So if you can put some willingness into the equation, some willingness to see the end result, to look past the immediate moment and know the relationship can be mended, with the skill of honesty, that quality of willingness will deliver you to your end result and much, much more. The reap what you sow law, remember, you put a seed in the ground, it's just one seed, it becomes a big plant, thousands of seeds, fruit to eat. You know, it's amazing. It's a magnified or multiplied return, and this is true of that too. Sometimes my will gets back into it. You know, I just want to do what Dan wants to do. Skip all this guy business. It's difficult. I don't want to do it. In the moment, I might be angry, it might be justified. The moment I start to open my mind to willingness again, I have the key in my hand again. It's immediate. So open up your mind to the quality of willingness. Practice an honest life. Your source of anger and resentment probably lies in that. Look past the problem. What I mean by that is think outside of it into a bigger scope. There's so much more than the problem as it shrinks our perspective and shrinks our own lives and shrinks our own mind into self. To that self-centered, self-referential misery point where everything's bad, you know, and no one likes me. Or I don't like anybody else for that matter. You know, it'll move. So when we think past it, what we're doing is we're attributing other circumstances. Problems don't stand on their own. They develop over time. They're not just two individuals. They involve other sets of circumstances, perhaps not people, but other sets of circumstances. And when we can consider it on the bigger scale, it dilutes the problem out of me. All the while recognizing that the complexity of all these interactions that we call life, that we call the galaxy, the universe, the solar system, require God. God's laws, both spiritually and physically. So get honest. That's a real, true, honest thing, a principle honesty. We talked about that, how principles don't ever change. That these things in the world, these things in our solar system, these things in the Milky Way galaxy and our fantastic universe are all creations outside of your power. And I would recommend that unless you're a brilliant mathematician, and even if you are, that you think of these things in terms of a God that created this stuff for your benefit. Honesty will lead you to where you want to be. It's a foundation of where we're going with the strategy of Jesus. So think about it. It's not going to be perfect. You're not going to do it every day. And there's going to be people that think you're dishonest because you leave something out or said something in a way different than the way they remember it. Don't worry about that. Don't waste any time with it. Know in your heart and in your mind if you intend to deceive or that you're giving an honest effort. Commit to those things. Change how you think about honesty. And honesty will become a skill that you can practice, get really good at, and leverage the benefits whenever you'd like. I hope you have a fantastic day, and thanks for tuning in. Remember to subscribe to this channel, and I'll keep sending you messages to help you understand the strategy of Jesus outside all the cloudiness of religion and be able to leverage that beautiful way of life for yourself. Thanks.